The Stoic secret to using money without it controlling you begins with the recognition that currency is never truly owned, but only borrowed from fortune, and that true freedom is measured not by the coins in your hand, but by the calm with which you let them go. Picture a marketplace not of ancient Rome, but of a bustling Mediterranean port where sailors unload amphorae of olive oil, traders haggle over bolts of dyed cloth, and fishermen call out prices for their catch as the scent of salt and smoke fills the air. In this chaos of voices and bargains, every hand reaches for silver, yet watch the philosopher who walks calmly through, neither lured by shining trinkets nor disturbed by the clamor. His eyes rest not on the goods, but on the rhythm of his breath, and in that simple act he reveals the secret. Money has power only if you grant it dominion over your mind. Imagine instead a mountain village where winters are harsh. The fields are barren, and survival depends not on how much wealth is stored, but on how wisely resources are used. A family who shares, who plans, who eats with moderation, finds peace even in scarcity, while a man who hoards every crumb in fear grows restless, suspicious, and weak. Here money is replaced by bread, yet the lesson is the same. Control of resources. Without control of desire is nothing but slavery disguised as abundance. The Stoics taught that wealth is neither good nor bad, only indifferent, and it becomes a blessing or a curse depending on how it is carried in the mind. Consider Epictetus, who owned nothing, not even freedom of his own body, yet declared himself richer than kings because no one could chain his judgment. His master could command his labor, but not his will. And in that independence, he found treasure that storms and tyrants could never touch. Contrast this with the merchant whose warehouses overflow with grain and spices, yet who trembles each night at the thought of fire or thieves. He is wealthier in possessions, but poorer in spirit, and the poverty of his soul outweighs his riches. Now let us leap centuries forward into a modern scene. A commuter sits in the dim light of an early morning train, scrolling through glowing advertisements promising happiness in shoes, gadgets, and vacations. Around him, weary faces dream of salaries, bonuses, and fleeting luxuries. Yet the wisdom of the Stoics still speaks here. If your peace depends on numbers in a bank account, on possessions that can vanish in a moment, then you are not rich, but captive. The discipline to step away from the endless lure of desire is wealth greater than any paycheck. Think of the craftsman in a workshop, his calloused hands shaping wood into furniture, his livelihood modest yet steady. His fortune lies not in vast estates, but in the rhythm of skill, in the sufficiency of knowing that the work of his hands can sustain him. If fire burns his shop, he grieves but does not despair, for he trusts his discipline to rebuild. Wealth, tied to possessions, dies with possessions, but wealth tied to discipline lives as long as character endures. Seneca warned often that luxury seduces more dangerously than poverty. Hunger may teach restraint, but comfort whispers dependency, convincing the soul that joy is impossible without feasts and cushions. This whisper is poison, because once you believe comfort is owed to you, every small discomfort becomes unbearable. A Stoic resists not by fleeing from life, but by mastering himself, practicing voluntary simplicity, eating modestly, delaying indulgence, and in doing so, proving to his own soul that he is free. Imagine yourself resisting a purchase, not out of stinginess, but out of clarity, feeling the quiet strength of saying no to desire. Each act of restraint is a coin placed in the treasury of true wealth, one no thief can steal, no market can devalue, and no disaster can erase. The Stoic secret to using money is not to despise it, but to use it like a tool. A cloak may keep you warm, but you are not the cloak. A loaf may fill your belly, but you are not the loaf. Money may pay your rent, feed your children, or allow you to give generously, but you are not the money. The moment you forget this distinction, you are enslaved even if you sit on heaps of gold. True freedom, the Stoics insisted, is the ability to walk calmly through both wealth and poverty, unbroken by loss, unshaken by gain. Imagine again the rushing river. You may drink from it, you may bathe in it, you may even toss coins into it, but you can never stop its flow, and to try is madness. So too with money. It comes, it goes, it drifts through your life like water, and your task is not to dam it with fear or chase it with desperation, but to stand by the river steady, knowing that what matters is not the water but the way you stand. In our own time, when the noise of consumption shouts louder than ever, when every screen flashes with temptations, the Stoic secret is to lower the volume of desire, to see money as smoke and mirrors, useful but fleeting. The richest man today is not the one who earns the most, but the one who sleeps soundly without fear of loss. The poorest is not the one with little, but the one who wakes each day with hunger that possessions cannot fill. Discipline transforms scarcity into sufficiency and abundance into freedom. Ask yourself then, not how much money you want, but how much discipline you have, because without discipline no sum is enough, and with discipline even little can feel like plenty. The final question the Stoics leave us is this: do you want to own money or be owned by it? For in the end, money vanishes, fortunes shift, economies collapse, but discipline remains, the treasure that no thief can touch, the wealth that outlives empires. And when the last coin has slipped through your fingers, what will remain is not what you spent or saved, but who you became in the choices you made. That is the Stoic secret, waiting for you not tomorrow, not in the next paycheck, but in this moment, in the calm mastery of your own soul. So when you consider the Stoic secret to using money without it controlling you, do not imagine distant philosophers cloaked in marble silence. Imagine yourself at the moment of decision, standing at the counter with a purchase in your hand, weighing whether this object will serve your life or enslave your desire. That instant is where philosophy lives, not in dusty scrolls, but in the flicker of judgment that either strengthens your freedom or weakens it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that fortune could strip him of everything but never of his reasoned choice, and that same truth is yours. Money may come and go, but how you meet it determines whether you walk in chains or in freedom. Picture a farmer working his fields. The rain fails one season, the harvest is thin, and yet he rises each morning with resolve, conserving seed, tending soil, planning for the year ahead. He has less than before, but his discipline makes him rich in strength. Now picture another who has a bountiful harvest but spends recklessly, squanders his gains on feasts, and when the next drought comes he is ruined, not by nature but by his own lack of restraint. Which man is truly poor? Which man is free? The Stoics would answer without hesitation, wealth without discipline is ruin, but discipline without wealth is still power. This lesson is as alive in the heart of the modern world as it was in the fields of antiquity. Today, discipline in spending, in saving, in resisting the constant pull of desire is the foundation of financial peace. Think of every advertisement as a test, every envy as a question, every fear of loss as a teacher, and you will see that money itself is never the problem. The problem is the hunger we allow to rule us, the whisper of more, the fear of less. Epictetus, who once had nothing, lived with greater peace than the merchants of his time because he understood this distinction. He urged his students to remember that nothing external is truly theirs, that even their own bodies can fail, but their judgments, their choices, their discipline belong entirely to them. This is why a man with little can laugh, can sleep soundly, can share generously, while a man with much can tremble at shadows, envy neighbors, and lie awake fearing thieves. The paradox is eternal. The richest soul may live in poverty, the poorest soul may sleep on silk. The question then returns to you. Will you measure your life in possessions or in mastery? Imagine years from now, looking back at the path you walked. Will you remember the endless pursuit of more, the restless nights of comparison, the fleeting joy of objects that now lie broken or forgotten? Or will you remember the strength of saying no when temptation pulled, the calm of living within limits, the quiet pride of using money as a tool rather than bowing before it as an idol? The choice is not abstract. It is present in this very moment, in the way you see the coins in your pocket, the bills on your table, the desires in your mind. The Stoic secret is to remember always that money is the servant, never the master. Hold it lightly, spend it wisely, save it calmly, give it freely, and walk on unshaken when it departs. For in the end, when the markets have closed, when the treasures have faded, when even your name has slipped from memory, what will remain is not the wealth you gathered, but the discipline you lived. And that discipline, forged in small choices, repeated with courage, is the only fortune that time cannot erase, the only wealth that endures beyond all loss, the only treasure that makes a man truly free.